All right, everyone. It's 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. on the West Coast. So I think we'll go ahead and get started. I'm Adam Hops with the National Operations Center of Excellence. Want to once again thank Federal Highway Administration's Traffic Incident Management Program, Jim Ostrich, especially Paul Joden, Jim Tebow, for continuing to lead the way on Crash Responder Safety Week. We're honored to be able to host these planning calls every year. This is the second of this year. In the chat box, I put more information on upcoming events and resources as well that are being hosted. So be sure to check there for more information. For those of you who've previously joined us on Talking Tims and previous Crash Responder Safety Week, you'll notice we are here at NOCO now in a Zoom environment. We made the switch over the summer for a couple different reasons. One of them was to be able to more effectively share video with all of you during presentations. Both of our speakers today, all three of our speakers from Florida and New Jersey are going to be showing videos. We're excited about that. The second reason is accessibility issues. Accessibility features. You can see perhaps on the bottom of your screen, there's a closed caption option that's up there to allow for more accessibility, both now and in the recording that will follow. So thanks for making the move over to Zoom with us. A few changes in this environment when it comes to this all states planning call. One, as I mentioned before, use that chat box feature down below to communicate with colleagues, communicate with panelists, ask me any questions. I'll be posting links in there. So use that for that sort of interaction. If you have direct questions for our presenters, we will have some Q&A throughout. Put those in that Q&A box so that we can track those questions, make sure we get them all answered either in that box or verbally when the time comes. So two different ways to interact. Lastly, we will be doing an all states roundtable to hear what you're working on in your state. At the end, if you could take a look now at that raise hand button that's down there on the screen for those of you who are on the most up-to-date Zoom and there, that's when it's your turn. If you raise that hand, I'll unmute you and allow you to talk during that roundtable. And same if there's any questions throughout, please use that raise hand button, and that allows me to unmute you. Again, everybody's muted standard in the new format, but if you raise that hand when it's your turn in your state, we'll make sure to unmute you, and so you're ready to report in. Next slide. So before I hand it over to Jim, just a reminder on behalf of FHWA and all the webinars that we do here at NOCO that there's certainly sometimes discussion around specific products or manufacturers or companies, and none of those are being endorsed. None of those are being endorsed here. Everything expressed by the presenters is their opinion and don't necessarily reflect those of FHWA, USDOT, or NOCO, but certainly thankful for all the information that the presenters are providing. Next slide, please. As I mentioned, in a moment, Jim and Matt Morgan from AEM will be going over doing some polling and feedback. We want to hear from you on some of the specific things that you're doing ahead of the roundtable. So two ways to do that. You can use the link that's in the chat window. I'll re-put that in there, or that QR code. Use your phone, scan the QR code with your photo app. Should take you right to the Mentimeter. If you go there now, it'll show you the presentation that's up on the screen, but the input will come when the appropriate slide comes. So if you do that now, then you can stay tuned throughout. We're going to have 9 direct questions, really simple to answer. We just want to get feedback on specific things that everyone's doing ahead of the roundtable. Next slide. Jim, I will turn it over to you. Thank you again.
Adam, thank you. And many thanks to the National Operations Center of Excellence for supporting CRSW webinars. And as you said, Talking Tim. Welcome to everyone. And on behalf of the U.S. Department of Transportation, Federal Highway Administration, TIM program, Paul Joden, Joe Tebow, and Jim Ostrich, your humble servants are very honored and always grateful to all of you for what you do every day in traffic incident management, because as Joe Tebow always says, we are saving lives every day. So thank you again and keep doing what you're doing. So today, the webinar, this webinar series is geared or directed today, and really everyone, but specifically communications officers, PIOs, and the responder community. The purpose you can see there is sharing crash responder safety week plans, spotlight traffic incident management responder safety for the public, and focus on the national TIM responder training. Next slide. Thank you, Matt. Our agenda, as you see it here, and time goes very quickly, so we'll be cognizant of that. Hopefully you'll have some good questions and participate in that Menti meter. But today, here you see it, it's 3:06 p.m. Eastern time, and we are headed to the presentations after my remarks here, and also I'll introduce the presenters, and again, we'll have that Q&A. Next slide. So our theme for this year, some of you may already be aware for this year, Crash Responder Safety Week, is respect our roadside heroes. And God knows we definitely owe them a debt of gratitude, the traveling public, the entire country, because they sacrifice every day, put their lives on the line in so many different ways. Our nation's roadways, whether interstate highways, rural, remote, urban, arterial roads, are very dangerous places and continue to be. In particular, the number of crashes that are trending up. And again, for a second year in a row, the responder struck by. So this year's theme is very apropos. Next slide. The breakdown for the week of November 14th through the 18th is what you see here, Monday through Friday. We're going to be concentrating our messaging and our activities on those. So this is something easy and simple for you to follow, but there's going to be some other recommended practices, if you will, that you can take advantage of. Many of you have already been doing some of those, but we'll get more into that here in a few minutes. Next slide. So as Adam mentioned, what are some of the actions that you can take? And number one on the top of our list has been the proclamations signed by your governors. Last year we had 12. We doubled from 6 the previous year, and we're hoping to double that again. And so if you're in a state that hasn't done one, please consider doing so. And then followed by all the 2 through 6 examples of activities and practices that state DOTs, public safety response agencies, and others can participate in. So as Adam said, we're going to be asking you a series of questions through Mentimeter here in a minute. Next slide. Is this the slide we're supposed to be Adam? Or Matt? I thought we were, I was going to introduce the presenters first.
I'm happy, Jim, to jump in to do the questions, and maybe the next step after this would be.
Okay, well, let's follow the process here. So jump right in, Matt.
Excellent. Thank you, Jim, for that intro. And as Adam noted, our intent today is to queue up 9 questions to make sure we're getting inputs on planning efforts and intentions for each of our participating states today. Our first question for those who are not in Menti currently, encourage folks to spend time right now to go ahead and log in. Would encourage you to note whether you intend to pursue a governor's proclamation during this year's CRSW. Please indicate, if yes, your state followed by your name, separated by a comma. And if not, hold off, we'll have other questions. As noted, We'll do 3 tranches of questions today. So we're seeing confirmations from a number of states: Wisconsin, Michigan, Puerto Rico, New Jersey, potentially Utah, Nevada. We're going to give a little bit of extra time on this question because we know some folks are getting set up on Menti. And we'll look to do about 30 to 45 seconds for questions to follow. Excellent. We see North Carolina. All right, let's move forward to our next question. Do you intend this year to pursue DMS messaging? If yes, again, please indicate your state and your name in the same format as indicated previously.
And for those on the Mentimeter, just to take note, sometimes it'll ask, depending upon the version, it'll say ask you to click a button to move to the next slide up top if perhaps you went away from the browser. So just look out for that. Looks like quite a few people have moved over now.
Thank you, Adam. We're seeing confirmations from a number of states: Kansas, Nevada, New Jersey, Minnesota, Arkansas, Michigan, Arizona, Utah. Give a little bit more time for folks to indicate if yes. All right, and one more question to kick us off. Who on today's call intends to pursue a social media campaign to reinforce our messaging this year? As before, please indicate your state, followed by your name. Thank you to all who participated last year. I know we had over 2 million impressions online thanks to your support. So your contributions make a big difference. Seeing yeses from a number of states, calling out a few: Arizona, Iowa, Nevada, Arizona, potentially Virginia, Utah, Minnesota. Give us a few more seconds here. Again, thanks to all who have noted that they intend to pursue this approach. I'm going to advance us to our next slide here and pass it back to Jim for introductions to our speakers for today.
Thank you, Matt. Our first speaker today, Salvatore Cohen. We know him as Sal, is an old friend of the program. Actually, he's very young. Old friend of the National TIM program. Has been a leader and a champion for many years in the state of New Jersey. You can see his title, and dare I say, just New Jersey's always been a trailblazer, and we're delighted to have Sal today present. After Sal, it'll come back to me again to bring in Michael Washburn, who's the Incident Management Program Coordinator and Traffic Engineering Maintenance General Consultant. That's a mouthful, Michael. To the Florida's Turnpike. In collaboration or tag teaming with him is Juliet Valencia, who, as you see, is a community outreach manager for that same Turnpike and enterprise. So with that, Sal, you're up.
Jim, it's always a pleasure to work with you and your team at FHWA. I see we've got like 150 people on here. That's fantastic. It shows the desire to be a part of this larger program. That's a credit to you, to Paul, to Joe Tebow, to Adam and the folks at National Operations Center of Excellence. Very well done. Getting the word out is exactly what we want to do here, right? We want to share our experience in New Jersey so that others may be able to, as my good friend Todd Lee said, the Pennsylvania Turnpike says, professionally borrow. Copy paste, replace with PennDOT or PA Turnpike or any other state. Feel free. These are not just us. This is how we grow, right? Again, my name's Sal Cowan. I work at New Jersey DOT. I have the pleasure and the opportunity to work with so many talented individuals: Robert Bird, Liz Falcon, Mike McCarry, Dennis Calderon, Jim Racanelli, my assistant commissioner Andrew Tenard, our commissioner Diane Gutierrez Schichetti, and they are all in on Crash Responder Safety Week this November. Next slide, please. What I'm going to do is I'm going to touch on a number of the items that we did for Crash Responder Safety Week last year, in addition to some of the what I'll call ad hoc, the other creative outreach. Now, I recognize some of you may not think of these kinds of things, and if anyone has any of the other ideas, I mean, so Jim, never tell me that there's a chat box, because I think I've sent messages to like 20 people. And so that's the whole chain that's going on in the chat box. Like Angela's like, how come I can only see yours? But take these ideas and run with them, folks. They're not mine. They're not New Jersey's. They're ours for really taking and running with. Coordinating news segments, they're huge. Getting local television and radio stations involved. Any kind of public events that you can get. Using billboards or rest stops. If you have authority-based or toll-based roadways where you have rest facilities or customer service centers, newspapers, whether it's local print, I mean, more and more you're going to the web, you got local advertisers, they're willing to work with you. Next slide. So this is from the news segments. We worked with, and if anybody's wondering, you know, branding's a big part of this, right? So you would have seen in our responses to the Menti quiz, the NJTIM team, NJTIM, njtim.org. It's about branding. And the more you get your phrasing out there and the more you can get people to associate it with that, you know, that's how you're going to get word of mouth. So we wanted to continue to push the envelope for the slow down, move over law, in support of the slow down, move over law in the department. One of our principal transportation analysts, Elizabeth Falcon, and our team came up with putting bumper stickers onto various DOT vehicles, and then other agency vehicles, and then other state government vehicles. Next slide. I think this is the audio one. There you go. Oh. Thought this is the one we tested. Anybody hear the audio or no? Well, I'll speak over it if we can't get the audio. So this is some of our TIM team. This is some of the video that we had done.
Tell you not hearing the audio when I play it?
It could save a life. In this case, that life may be your own.
Can you turn it up?
Best ways to ensure traffic and first responder safety is to clear minor incidents from traffic lanes as quickly as possible. Minor crashes and disabled vehicles should be moved from the roadway as soon as possible to a safe area adjacent to the travel lanes.
Since 2014, every graduating trooper from the New Jersey State Police Academy has received a nationally recognized traffic incident management training, and it is currently being offered to every trooper who has not yet had it. Additionally, these federally funded traffic incident management classes are available to all first responders in all disciplines free of charge to help ensure that they can do their jobs and get home safely. During National Traffic Incident Management Week, we want to raise awareness about the dangers our first responders face each and every day on our roadways during traffic incidents. So please take advantage of this training by visiting njtim.org.
Apologize for any of the audio difficulties. That might have been my fault for including the insert. We go to the next slide. Let's see if we get the next one.
It has been said.
Yeah, this one. Come on, Brucey.
proclaim November 8th through November 14th as Crash Responder Safety Week here in New Jersey. Recognizing this week provides an urgent message to all drivers to safely share the roads with those working on our highways.
The New Jersey Department of Transportation has trained over 20,000 crash responders who are policemen, firemen, DOT workers, etc., who respond to incidents throughout the state.
Jersey is the most congested state in the country. In order for everyone to be able to go home every night, motorists have to play their part too.
Traffic incidents, while they are common, they are not normal. Abnormal situation on the roadway presents danger to the motoring public and to the responders.
While responders work to clear the incident, the potential for a dangerous secondary crash increases every minute. For every minute a highway lane is blocked due to a crash or an emergency response, the resulting traffic backup takes 4 minutes to clear.
Slowing down and moving over for vehicles with flashing lights on the side of the road, including emergency responders, construction and utility vehicles, lawnmowers, and tow trucks is not just the law. It's a common courtesy to workers who put their lives at risk to help us. Please be aware, we're out there, we're on the side of the road. Slow down and move over, because we'd like to go home at nighttime too. We have a family.
Move over law doesn't just pertain to law enforcement and first responders, but also to civilians and private citizens as well. It could be your mother, your father on the side of the road that suffered a motor vehicle breakdown, flat tire. It's a very vulnerable spot for people.
I too was responding to an emergency situation on our highway, and my vehicle was struck. It's important that we all use our road safely.
When you see our team members working on the road, move over one lane. It's the law. And if you cannot safely move over, please slow down so that they can get home safely.
I'd like to thank you and hope this message helps.
And I believe after this, we have an audio clip, not just from the YouTube clip or from njtim.org. Someone asked where these videos are available. It's there. We have audio from our partner, Todd Leese and the Beasley Media Group. They managed to get audio for both us as well as the Pen Time program on local radio stations.
Here's an important message for all first responders, tow truck operators, and anyone who works on New Jersey roadways. Every day, responders just like you are struck by vehicles while working on the road. Some don't survive. Others are critically injured and can never go back to the jobs they love. Remember, you can't help anyone if you become a victim yourself. Get trained in traffic incident management. It's free of charge and it's waiting for you now. This message is brought to you by NJ Tim and this station. Learn more about New Jersey traffic incident management at njtim.org.
I think that's my last audio slide. So thank you, Adam,
Here's an
for getting the video and the audio done. Branding, njtim.org, making sure that you knock those doors constantly. We do our public events. These are our press events. That's the director of the Division of Highway Traffic Safety in New Jersey, the coordinating partner for NHTSA. That's our commissioner, Diane Gutierrez-Scicchetti. That is the mother of Trooper Castellano, who was tragically struck and killed while on the scene of a crash on one of our interstates. And that is the colonel of the state police. These are our partners day by day by day. That's the press release that we sent out talking about National Crash Responder Safety Week. There are organizations within your departments that can help you do this, but your leadership certainly helps. Next slide. Again, your leadership support is critical. They want to be there. They want to be a part of this. Joe, I heard Joe Haynes was on here too. Joe, there's your truck. See, your friends are all involved in this. They all know this program. They train these programs. Joe's a TIM trainer. Joe's a part of our traffic incident management strategic plan. We are all in this together. And as much as we can get together and continue to share the word, that's what's critical. Next slide. And spreading the word is how we do that. You'll see pictures here. Two of our incident management response team members, Mike Bagel, Tim Kavanaugh, along with our principal transportation analyst, Liz Falcon at the New Jersey Festival of Ballooning, which we'll be at again this year with our TIM table, with our service patrol vehicles, with our stickers, with our challenge coins for first responders who are TIM trainers who want to come and support the event. Next slide. We partner with our friends at the authorities. PNC Bank Arts Center is actually on the property of the Garden State Parkway. And so they were able to use the digital image we provided them to put it up on the billboard that you see for, whether it's Dave Matthews Band or Bon Jovi or whoever's going to be playing They got that up on the same billboard. We also used a lot of the rest stop areas. So they have the screens that you would normally display PSAs. We put the TIM posters up during Crash Responder Safety Week. Next slide. Coordinating with local partners as well, some local print, local TV, local radio stations, local print websites, how we get it out. We also have boards up, and we send that image you see out to various social media platforms. Next slide. Using local news articles, again, it's not just the TV and the radio stations. You have academics. We work with Rutgers and the Center for Advanced Infrastructure and Transportation. They're part of our LTAP program. If you have an LTAP within your state, within your organization, use that. They are local technical assistance partners. They can help you get things done. They can also help promote your program. I know some states that use their LTAPs for TIM. That's a huge success. Next slide. Bumper sticker campaign I mentioned before. It is on all DOT vehicles. This is a snapshot of police vehicles, fire vehicles, EMTs, and command site vehicles. Hopefully, I know without the New Jersey icon, but you know we like to put New Jersey on everything. Something like this could be considered for wider use, not just in bumper stickers. It is the color of coral, which is appropriate for crash response. And we'd like to see it used in a wider application. Next slide. Get the media involved. If you're going to do a TIM class, invite them along. Doesn't hurt that you have friends at the state police and you want to talk about what happens when a helicopter comes to a crash scene for an investigation. And then you get the guys who are in charge of the helicopters to give you a walk around. And, it's kind of fun to have a picture taken with a helicopter, let's be honest. But the scary part is, sometimes for those of us in the business, we see school buses overturned, right? So we have our partners come out and they're going to show us how to extricate, how they would be towing, where the vehicles would need to be positioned for proper elevation and removal of a school bus off a vehicle. And that was the head page on the department's newsletter that next quarter. Next slide. Challenge coins for our trainers. Event giveaways, how to protect our first responders. Again, njtim.org, getting the message out. Next slide. Social media posts, hallway posters. You've seen them probably in your agency. They're talking about donations to local food pantries or coat drives or prom dress drives. Get your print shop to make them up for Crash Responder Safety Week. I'm sure you know the people that have the easels. It's easy enough. Put them up, get them up. Make sure if anybody has any questions, they know who to talk to. Next slide. We have a website, njtim.org. If you haven't noticed, I've been promoting it throughout the entire presentation. Thank you, Jim Ostrich, for the free advertising. But those videos are up on there. We have, oh man, I should have done this before. I usually try to get props, business cards. And the business cards on the back, njtim.org. So they can go to the website, they can sign up for training, they can understand what we do, they can look at the videos, they can look at the pictures, they can understand TIM, especially here in New Jersey, but moreover across the country and for the US DOT's sake. Next slide. Is that it? That's it. I do want to thank all of our partners. I do want to thank all of our friends who were on the call. Jim, Adam, Paul, Joe, the National Operations Center of Excellence. You guys have been fantastic partners. We appreciate the support. We could not have done it without Ake Ponsavoth, Amy Kaminsky, Matt Zeller, Roger Lal, Robert Clark, the New Jersey Division Office. Incredible support for our program, and we look forward to being here next year again.
Sal, the thanks is ours. I don't know where to begin, brother. You knocked it out of the park again, and all bases were loaded, and just incredible work. As I said, New Jersey, you, my friend, and your team are always a leader. And I hope everyone that we have on today, 153, by the way, are really taking notes, because last year was the official launch of Crash Responder Safety Week, okay? We really need to accelerate. There's still way too much work that needs to be done, but not only training of our responders, but the incorporation and use of the emerging technologies like UAS and CAD integration and responder to vehicle alerts and video sharing, all these things that ultimately make up a strong TIM program. Sal's committee, statewide committee, are just a strong group of professionals, and you can see by the work that they produce, they are just trailblazing. And Paul, Joe, and I, we encourage everyone to do the same, and you can do it. You absolutely can do it. I just can't say enough good things. So Sal, thanks again.
Jim, it's definitely our pleasure. If anybody needs any more information, reach out to me in the chat, or I'm sure you guys will have information. Whatever you guys need, whatever it takes, we're here.
Thank you. Thank you. So back to the slides. Next up is, can we show the slide? Matt, do you have the slide? There we go. Thanks, Matt. Yeah, I just wanted to go back here because next up is Michael Washburn and Juliet Valencia from the state of Florida with a very good presentation as well. Florida, another strong, very strong state. And so with that, Michael, take it away.
Okay, great. Good afternoon, everybody, and greetings from Florida. Really appreciate the honor and privilege to speak in front of this group. You're going to hear a lot of semantics similar to what we just heard from Sal, and it's that awareness, spreading the message, and partners. That's what was very key in our outreach efforts. FDOT and Florida's Turnpike have always been a huge supporter of Crash Responder Safety Week since it has begun. We have done a lot of the issues that we spoke about with our messaging, ride-alongs, tours of TMC, and tours with our road rangers, our service plazas, and doing outreach events and handouts, and giving some of those freebies with the messaging, branding that Sal mentioned. And so we've always been a strong proponent to get that word out. But a couple of years ago, we wanted to do something different that really brought media attention and coverage. And what we wanted to do is reach through and have a demo, a live demo with all of our multidisciplinary partners, fire rescue, law enforcement, our peer districts, District 6, District 4 here in South Florida, with FDOT, as well as a tow association. And so on November 14th of the Crash Responder Safety Week, we held a demo where we had all of our partners come in and participate. And you can see the logos here with FHP, and our local fire was Tamarack and Sunrise here in the Fort Lauderdale area. So it was a real strong effort to begin with. Next slide, please. The first thing we did on the DOT side was about 3 months previous, when we decided we really wanted to do something different. We really had to put together the blueprint, and we put down the items of the events that we wanted to share, and then find those key players that are going to be partners with us with the same engagement to tout the Crash Responder Safety Week and the messaging we want for slow down, move over, and the safety of our responders. We said we wanted news coverage. That was the main thing. Was we really wanted to do something that was going to catch their attention and get them to our demo. If you get anyone who's tried this in the past, know sometimes they will tell you they'll be there and they don't show, or something else happens elsewhere as a breaking news, and you don't get the coverage. So we really wanted to focus on that. Social media, we wanted to make sure we applied a lot of the demo and information that we're providing out to the social media, so it kind of lives on after the event itself. Documenting with videos and images, we hired a couple people to come in specifically for that and to provide that role for videoing it, and as well as documenting through our images, and you'll see a bunch here. And then that media advisory was a follow-up, and Juliet's going to hit on that, of really what that meant on day of and going forward. Next slide, please. This is our program events, and I wanted to show this really because it really brings down the number of people involved. And from our John Easterling, our DOT boss on the Turnpike, to our major and head of the FHP Troop K. We brought Bob Murphy. A lot of you I know Bob. He's an IM champion, and he was our event MC. And so we brought in the people who are really engaged in wanting to get the word out and help with the awareness. You can see the logistics. That was the DOT side, and then our media coordinators, and then we called them actors. For the demo, they did like that. But basically, it was our champions from those other disciplines that really played the vital role in making the incident and the demo come alive. And it was real key that they all were on board with the messaging and that the fact that we're doing it during Crash Responder Safety Week. Bob, having an MC to the event was really, epitome of a team effort, because he was able to continue, as a live event occurring, we had dispatched, through the radio and responders arriving. He was able to relay what they were seeing and why they were seeing it as the event unfurled, if you will. Next slide, please. Here's a lot of the pictures. So basically, we had a stage incident where we had a large bus that versus sedan, basically kind of a rear end type thing with an entrapment, fire rescue responding to the scene, and all the other responders for the recovery and clearance. We did make sure we had a moment of silence for responders we had lost that year and previous years. And we also had set up, for a viewing area, we really kind of cordoned it off where we wanted the audience and our media to be. And believe it or not, you see those tents out there. We put those tents out there for shade and to be cooled off. But as luck would have it, they came in important, because we ended up getting a downpour that morning. But we went with it, rain or shine. Next slide, please. Again, as I mentioned, we went as a live demo where they first appeared. They were just looking at the crash itself. They heard the radio dispatch from the TMC and FHP dispatch of the incident, and then the responding units as they mobilized. And they were coming from off-site, arriving to the scene, fire rescue, law enforcement, then tow, and our road rangers to set up the scene. And then it was a course of the evolution of what we all do, for the training to clear the scene, life safety first, and then the clearance itself. Next slide, please. So just as I turn it over to Juliet to talk about, that was the baseline of our event, but there's a lot of work to get that done, but working with our partners. But when we wanted to get that media coverage, we really wanted to go to our professionals. And basically that was getting with our public information office, and Juliet with some of her peers really took the lead and really made it come to fruition. And I'll turn it over to Juliet now.
Thank you so much, Mike. Good afternoon, everyone. I really appreciate this opportunity to share some of the details of the communications outreach effort leading up to the event. The Florida's Turnpike communications staff work closely with traffic operations and incident management to begin the planning process and storyboarding for this multi-agency incident response training demonstration. It took place approximately 3 months prior to Crash Responder Safety Week back in November of 2019. The event was designed to promote the importance of the move over law and show that incident response is a team effort. We attended regular meetings leading up to the event to touch base and review key messaging. Safety is everyone's responsibility. We discussed staffing, participants, and confirmed the speakers that were going to participate from the various disciplines. On this slide, you can see examples of the deliverables and media outreach materials we developed, including an event brief detailing the background, purpose, and proposed location for the crash rescue and recovery demonstration, English and Spanish media pitches, a media advisory, press release, and talking points as well. Next slide. Leading up to the event, our social media strategy consisted of daily posts containing either video or images on Florida's Turnpike Twitter and Facebook pages, and also included statistics promoting the Slow Down Move Over campaign. We featured live tweeting and posting during the event as well. As you can see, we had some activity on social media. Here are screenshots of a tweet we shared on our webpage, as well as those shared by our local media partners. Next slide. The response of a driver is just as important as the response of the person towing a vehicle. Rescuing the trapped, healing the injured, and investigating the incident. Everybody has a responsibility and a role. The reminder is especially important as we enter the busy holiday travel seasons. The media turnout was a success because we made sure to communicate the goal of this full-scale incident response demonstration as part of our pitch, which is to show a complex recovery operation, what it takes, to execute one, and what Florida's first responders are faced with every day on a roadway. Next slide. When we contacted our media contacts, we described the key elements and event features, including visuals, that it was a large-scale recovery operation demonstration, including a realistic crash scene between a bus and passenger vehicle, real-time demonstration of emergency crews responding and reacting to a crash scene. A press conference was going to be held, and spokespersons from the various disciplines will be available for quotes and on-camera interviews. We informed them we will also provide a complete media kit, including features, facts, figures, images, and more for their use. We also made sure, which is a very important detail, to do day of calls first thing in the morning as a reminder to all our media partners that this very special, important event will take place, rain or shine. And as you can see from some of those photos, it rained very heavily. So we are very, very fortunate that the media turned out nonetheless. Next slide. Shortly, we will be presenting a video of a WSVN 7 News interview with FHP Lieutenant Alvaro Fiola.
Florida agencies giving us a bit of a show and tell, offering us an inside look at how they do what they do to keep us safe.
That's right. The FHP, the Department of Transportation, and Sunrise Fire Rescue demonstrated how they respond to accidents on the highway. It's obviously a very dangerous job, especially when passing drivers don't use caution.
Past few years, we have a few incidents where our first responders, including troopers that were hit and seriously injured, for the failure to move over. You know, we tell them, the motorists, all the time about slowing down and changing lanes, to be patient and to give us room to work.
Great thing to remember, move over when you see these guys on the road. The demonstration included a staged rescue and hospital transport.
Thank you. So altogether, this multi-agency incident response demonstration was one of the most successful and memorable events undertaken by Florida's Turnpike Enterprise. It was well worth all of those months of preparation and collaboration with our partners. Thank you, everyone, and back over to you, Mike.
Great. Absolutely. I have a hard time to find something that got as much coverage as we did on this demo. And I really want to emphasize the thanks to our public information office, to Juliet and her whole team. They really, as you heard, worked up to the week of the demo, getting the word out and prepping, as well as the day of and that morning of. It was really key of what they did and got that coverage. This is a list of lessons learned. You know, we kind of touched on a number of them throughout, but I just want to reiterate here is that you know, something of this nature, you really need to rely on your partners. You can't do it all. And if you have and I know a lot of us do through our TIM teams, have those relationships where your other agencies have strong champions who want to get the same message out, you can come together. We put it together in about 3 months, as was mentioned. We made sure we had a champion from each of the disciplines and that they were engaged and that they were willing to do interviews. If you saw one of the slides showed interviews being done with road rangers, FHP, fire rescue. The media was looking to speak to all of them. And so they were all made available. We talked about the details. There's no detail is too small. We were worried about you know, the audio and video capabilities. We had a generator out there. We had the tents out there. So just walk yourself through it. The demo itself, we did a storyboard for. And I think someone asked about the time of day and how long. We also, because the goal was media coverage, we did it in a 10:30 to 11:30 window on a Thursday, I believe it was. And basically that window in the mornings are a less busy time on the media side to get them to respond, as well as the location we picked was in South Florida, in the Tri-County area of Palm Beach, Broward, and Dade, so they could easily get there. And we made it such that we ended in that 11:30 time frame, which then gave them some time to put packages together for not only the noon newscast locally, but also the nighttime 5, 6, and 11 as well, which they all did. It was outstanding. And as Juliet mentioned, the Spanish-speaking media was outstanding as well. A lot of coverage we got there, and that is something that went a long way. Weather, always, we all know that anytime we do work outside is be prepared for rain or shine, and we definitely got the rain. We heard some comments is that our demo with the rear end, the vehicle being under the bus, was typical what you see in a rainstorm. So if they went with it, great. It wasn't our doing though, believe it or not. And then 2 months out, we did have weekly meetings, teleconferences, and then the last couple of weeks up to the event we had in person. And that's kind of how we did it. 3 months out, we started storyboarding and putting the blueprint together. And then 2 months out, having weekly, and then getting it tighter and tighter as we got to the demo day. And we did do a dry run practice, actually 2 days before, and then a follow-up setting up the day before as well. So it's always be prepared, and as much as possible we can do prior to the actual demo itself. Went a long way as well. So I think that's it. The next slide, I think, is for any questions, and appreciate again the opportunity to speak in front of this group, such expertise out here, and look forward to any questions you may have. Jim?
Thanks, Michael, and thanks, Juliet. Excellent presentation and outstanding work, as I said earlier. Florida rocks. So I can't stress, that's right, Juliet, you should be proud. I can't stress enough, again, everyone on this call, you have one individual has a tremendous amount of influence. If you believe in the benefits of traffic incident management and what we're doing here, again, to save lives, you and your team, or you individually can make a huge difference. I can't stress that enough. You got to just get up and make contacts with your leaders, as Sal and others have said. It's critical to have support from the top down, and just make the case for what you want to do. And if you haven't made contact with your communications office, your PIOs, do it. Don't be bashful. Pick up the phone and call them. Go to their office, and if you're in the same building, do whatever you got to do to make that contact and get the ball rolling here, especially for things like the proclamations and press conferences, whatever you're going to develop. Another thing is the testimonials, responders that have been struck and have lived to tell the story. Those are very, very powerful, as a lot of I'm sure. And it's just out there. I get goosebumps saying that, by the way. I can't stress it enough. And there's just a tremendous amount of opportunities here. Yes, we are going to go to 3 more questions on Mentimeter. So back to you, Matt.
Thank you, Jim. You set these questions up very well. We're gonna touch on 3 more questions as we learn more about your plans for CRSW, and then we will transition to a Q&A. So please do keep that in mind. Regarding questions for the folks. Our first question is regarding your intent to produce training events during CRSW. If yes, just please indicate your state in Menti. We have an affirmative, including Utah, Nevada, Wisconsin, Arizona, Tennessee. Give folks a second longer. Excellent. Transitioning to our next question. How many folks on this call intend to pursue a CRSW web presence this year, dedicated page or website? If yes, please indicate your state as well as your agency, separated by a comma. We have a yes from NVFC, Tim Coalition in Arizona, Rodot in Arkansas, Tennessee, Wisconsin, New Jersey, Ohio, and again, this can be a page or a whole site.
Hey, Matt, can I interrupt here real quick to ask Adam if we haven't already, can we put our CRSW webpage URL in the chat pod?
Absolutely, Jim. There was a question in the Q&A about that for proclamations, if there was a standard, and we answered in there as well that if you go to the resources that are listed here that I just put in the chat box, there's things like example proclamations, example social media resources, reference videos, a lot of those items that are in there.
Thank you, Adam. And just an FYI to everyone today, there are still some materials in there that need to be updated for 2022. So don't fret. There's still a tremendous amount of resources there to plagiarize and use, but we're still working through to get some of the updated 2022 materials on the site. So stay tuned.
Thank you, Jim. I'm glad you flagged that. I'm going to transition to one last question for the group. At this time, who on the call intends to pursue a press release for this year's CRSW? And as before, please indicate your state as well as your agency. So we have affirmatives from Arizona, Utah, RDOT, TDOT, MDOT, NJ Tim, Nevada, Missouri, New York, and likely from Virginia.
So Matt, I'd like to interject here too real quick that some examples of the way this has worked in the past is you bring your state police colonel, superintendent, your fire chiefs, EMS, towing, public works, transportation, or just, preferably all of them. But if you can get a couple of them to do a press conference, press release, that's great. And not that hard of a lift, really. It's just, the sooner the better. So we're about 4 months, I think, 4 months out, approximately. So time is of the essence. Thank you.
And as folks had inquired previously, there are also templates that will be available that are currently in process with the team. And so to the extent that will help, I know that will support local customized press releases.
Yeah, Matt, and one other one on that same level was the proclamations. I think it was Dr. Harding asked earlier, whether the template is going to be updated. And we're working on that as well.
Excellent. Great to see so much engagement and so much planning at this stage. I'm going to transition back to Jim for our Q&A.
Okay. So again, many thanks to Sal, Mike, and Juliet. Keep the questions coming here, but now's the time. If we can do open mic. Adam can open it up for any other thoughts, questions, ideas, suggestions to our presenters. And this is always a tough one because everybody is always I guess a little bashful, but come on, folks. I just know you're chomping at the bit to ask a question. So who's willing to step up? Who's willing to step up and ask a question here on live on the webinar?
No pressure, huh, Jim?
Yes, I'm sorry. I didn't have my video on. I had to laugh in darkness there. But anyway, come on. Because next, we're going to be going to the states. What we had done traditionally when we first started this initiative back in 2016 with National Traffic Incident Response Awareness Week, NTIRAW, up until a little over a year ago when we stopped doing, or about a year ago, we stopped doing the state report outs. We still can, do or are doing similarly here. I'd like to just ask.
We have two hands up too, by the way, Jen.
Oh, go for it. I'm sorry.
Angela,
I didn't
want to
see.
go first?
Can you guys hear me?
Sure can.
Yes.
Okay, great. I was wondering, I didn't think you could. First of all, thank you guys for presenting, but mine's more of a statement. I think it's great. Having been on these calls for a long time now, and seeing the growth in everything that everyone is doing, and each year it gets more and more with new ideas. And I love, it's like brainstorming on a massive level. So I commend all of you, and I think it's great. I get a lot of great ideas and take it back to our coalition. Some of them are on here. I know Dr. Harden's on here, but we have thrown around some ideas for our state. Of course, I have to throw it out there. That our National Move Over Day is the third weekend in October. So we start with, that's like the open door, the front door, I should say, to Crash Responder Safety Week for us here. And this year we actually partnered with the Safety Council and MAD. Of course, the Governor's Highway Safety Act, FHWA, EF King. So we have a lot of new things working in that aspect for that, and promoting slow down and move over, quick clearance, push, pull, or drag, things like that. So that'll start that. But then for our TIM coalition during that week, we are throwing around the idea of a TIM summit, a very small one, with some guest speakers, and maybe addressing all the topics that are listed for the week. So also we are having TIM training, a mass one. We said virtual, but I'm trying to push for both virtual and in person. We tend to have, for us here in Arizona, we tend to have more response when we do it in person, I think, from our fire personnel. So, which I think is, key, I know, for us in our state to get those numbers up. That we have talked about. Oh, and we're going to be working on our new Slow Down and Move Over video, working with ADOT. So those are just some of the little things that we have started talking about. And well, we're going to have to really get busy working on it, but throwing it out there, to me, it's never enough. So anyway, that's mine.
Angela, thank you. Great comments and sharing. As always, you're a leader, Arizona, for sure. So keep up the great work. something that Sal just put out there in the chat bot about universities, and he mentioned Rutgers from New Jersey, partnering with your universities and other institutions of learning, and the local technical assistance programs, the LTAPs. I forgot to echo Sal on those two as well.
Hey,
So
Jim.
thank you. Go ahead, Sal.
So one of the things we do when we work with, so working at the organizational level, and Angela, that sounds great in Arizona. When the fire service, the volunteers, and, you know, even the career guys, but, you know, when they're looking for those CEUs, the continuing education credits, that's where you wind up getting a little bit more bang for your buck. I know Keene University in the state of New Jersey offers the continuing education credits as a portion of time. Our partners at New Jersey Institute of Technology have been working with the EMS group in New Jersey to work on how we can get CEUs for the EMS community. I know we work with engineers to be able to offer PDHs through the state university, and we're in conversations as to be able to offer planning credits. I think AICP or whatever the acronym is. I'm not a planner, I don't know. But those kind of credits for planners, transportation planners that use it. So you can't, some people, you can't pay these people to go to classes, right? I mean, some agencies may say, yeah, I'm going to send all my guys to a class on a Saturday. They pay them. But if there's anything else you can do to get them in the room, something like this is valuable. So it's the tangible stuff that they can take with them.
Very good, Sal. Thanks for sharing that. And what I was going to say, I need to follow up with you on the EMS ConEds question that you raised there, or comment you made. You know, in the next few days or whatever, but thanks.
You've got my
Thanks
cell
again.
phone, Jim. You can call me anytime. You know that.
I know, but you know how it is. It's anyway, I think it's Mike Lowe. Mike Lowe has his hand raised. Did I pronounce that incorrectly?
Oh, he just lowered his hand.
Don't be bashful, Mike. What's your question?
I think Mike just lowered his hand.
And so that might have been. From
I did
earlier.
that in error. I'm sorry.
No worries, no worries. Okay.
We have a couple questions in the Q&A pod, Jim.
Okay. Can you repeat the question for me, Adam?
Happy to. Somebody just asked if you could repeat the specific theme or tagline for 2022.
Respecting our roadside workers.
Thank you. And then the other question is there any, and I think this was maybe for the Florida presentation, is there any evaluation plan to estimate the degree to which drivers saw your messages, or any paid media?
That is an excellent question. Sal, do you want to take that one, or Mike, Juliet?
For us, are you talking about the paid media for like the radio spots that we had done?
Or message boards, maybe? I'm not sure.
So Todd Lease, the Penn Time coordinator, worked with our team, and I believe that those radio spots were done as a block of time that the radio station had dedicated for PSAs. Not exactly sure. He'd probably be able to give more details as to the how. But we kind of, you know, he's like, hey, we're going to get this done. We're neighbors, and the radio stations are on both sides. So how about we work it that way? So.
Very good. Okay, the comment that came in from my dear friend Dave Bryson with NHTSA. Sal, do you see that in the chat pod regarding the EMS?
I do. One of the things that we're trying to work on is enrolling them in the classes, because the CEUs have to come from the university is my understanding. And
Really?
therefore, I don't know if this is a New Jersey only thing, and I know Rob Bird and Liz Falcon are on here. I don't know if Bobby Pomacala's on here too, but we're working with our EMS partners, Department of Health. They've been pretty busy, but they've been working with us to come up with a solution for being able to translate the classes into credit. I can give you an update on that after our next biweekly TIM meeting.
Okay. Well, I'm glad Dave chimed in there, because that's exactly the CAPSI, which is like the lead or primary accreditation for paramedics and EMS personnel. We've been collaborating with them, and a lot of thanks goes to NHTSA for supporting FHWA in that endeavor. So we'll talk more about that as soon as we can. So any other hands raised, Adam, that am I missing? Oh, Juliet, go for it.
I don't have a question. I think somebody asked a little earlier in the chat, the duration for the actual demo. We shared as part of our media advisory, we had the event take place from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. And very quickly, to go over the program, we began with a welcome introduction around 10:30 to allow everyone to set up their equipment and everything. Then we had our speakers from the Turnpike Director of Operations and our Traffic Operations engineer as well, 10:35. We went into other speakers from the various disciplines. And at the crash scenario was around 10:45. We wrapped up the event around 11:30 roughly. And afterwards, we had our media opportunity with the post-demo interviews, etc.
Very good. Thank you for chiming in there, Juliet. Let's see, who the new person that has their hand raised, was it Mr. Shutt?
Yeah, James, how you doing? And
how you doing, Donald? I go by Jim. What's your question?
all right. One not question really. You know, I've been working with Todd Lease on some of the stuff that he's been trying to do, and I'm trying to deal with getting the information out in the upper end of Dauphin County where I live. And then I bring it up at every meeting I attend with the elected officials in the 4 municipalities that I deal with, as well as at other training sessions. And particularly, you know, we talk about Con Ed classes, you know, the EMTs have to have, and the paramedics have to have at least 3 hours in the 3-year term of their renewal on EVOC. And I push a lot on that, a lot of times, and that. And I'm keeping wise of what's going on with the Federal Highway Administration and everything else. And, you know, again, I saw that another individual firefighter was killed not too long ago here in an incident. Everything. So I'm trying to get things together for Halifax is starting to do like a first Friday night out deal. And I'm trying to get stuff together to put up a little stand that, hey, come on, people, need to know what's going on. And so I push it a lot with anytime I'm visiting EMS or fire companies and that doing training, I try to push the information about the move over law and what's all required. Thanks.
Donald, thank you so much for everything you're doing. It's so important, sir. Really, really appreciate that. Okay, it's almost 10 after the hour. We've got about 20 minutes left. Let's move on to the roll call, or wait a minute, 3 more Menti questions. Matt?
Perfect. I can make this quick. I know that the roll call is also important, but we appreciate the chance to collect inputs on these final 3 questions for today on Menti. So if folks can pull up Menti again in preparation for this, look forward to your feedback. So based on the presentation today, we're interested in understanding who is interested in a potential mass media or public event. If you're interested, please indicate your state and the additional information about the event that you are considering.
And while we await the responses there, I'd like to chime in, Matt, that on this particular subject, we're still in a hold pattern as far as an in-person event, media event at USDOT headquarters in Washington, D.C. We're chomping at the bit to go back to having an event at headquarters like we did the first 5 years. And so highly encourage those, those activities. And they can be big or they can be medium or small. But the key is just to start planning now and work with your communications, public affairs folks and your stakeholders to be represented and make that happen.
Excellent. And I'll acknowledge on that theme, Jim, that a lot of folks are indicating interest, but still are in that planning process and that planning stage. But happy to see so many folks interested at this stage.
Absolutely.
Moving to our next question. For driver education outreach, if you intend or are interested in driver education outreach for this year's CRSW, please indicate your state and similarly describe what you currently have in mind with a few words afterwards.
There's another important category. Obviously, we've been talking a lot over the past year, encouraging states to work with their DMVs, MVAs, however you refer to them, and other associations to educate our drivers at an early stage, and even the veterans. I know when I just recently registered one of my vehicles in the state of Virginia, there was a small little flyer sticker, if you will, at the top of the receipt that Virginia State Police and VDOT did for Move Over. And I thought that was very nice.
Acknowledging again some interest here. Some folks have had more success than others, but looks like plenty of interest in different events intended to advance outreach to drivers. And let's close with one more question. Who on today's call currently plans to or is interested in rest area or travel plaza messaging? If yes, this time please indicate your state and your name.
This is a big one that our friends over at respondersafety.com, I have to give them a plug here, shout out Steve Austin and Jack Sullivan and the team over at respondersafety.com. They've been producing the flyers, pamphlets, and cards and distribute them at the rest areas, rest stops for a number of years now. So that's another, best practice.
Excellent. Thanks all for your inputs. In recognition of remaining time, Jim, I'll transition again over to you.
Thank you, Matt. So here again are some of the suggested activities that your team can engage in. We've covered pretty much all of these, but there may be others, I'm sure, big and small, that you might, let your creativeness take over and have discussions with your team, including public affairs. But right now, with the remaining minutes that we have, we're going to transition over to the states map or the states slide, all states slide. There you go. And this is your chance. We only have let's see, we only have, I think, 2 more. Boy, yeah, 2 more all states planning calls, if I'm not mistaken. Matt, does that sound right? Between now and game day in November?
I think it's just one, Jim. Just one more in September.
Just one more in September. Okay, I thank you. So between now's your chance, or in September. But here's what I'm going to say, and don't get mad at me, because Paul and Joe and myself, and I know you in your heart of hearts, every state in the United States, including Puerto Rico and the District of Columbia, needs to engage and do some activity, produce proclamations, all these different suggested activities that we've talked about here today. Ladies and gentlemen, this is about life safety. This is about, as you saw on the videos, responders and you and your family getting home at night. Okay. And again, especially, respecting those roadside workers. And so everything that you can do to wave the flag, or I should say, shine the light on the importance of traffic incident management and all the benefits and activities that go to saving lives, so that we all go home. I know I'm taking time here, but I want you to speak up. Is there anybody in any state that would like to just make if it's a general comment? Before, we used to go state by state and didn't always get responses, but I chose to keep this slide because a lot of these states are represented.
Jim, can you hear me?
Yes, Angela.
Just briefly, I know I already talked about what Arizona's going to do, so it is kind of different for us with the TIM Summit that, I would love to be able to do on a small scale. I think we get a lot of coverage with that during that week. One thing I would like to say to the participants here, because I do represent several different states, and the newest ones being the state of Nevada and Connecticut, I would love for those our towing associations in those states to partner with the other departments on this call. So if I can reach out to you and maybe we can get involved. I know we just talked about, we are planning a move over day, although it's going to be in September, in Connecticut. But I know we would love to be involved in Crash Responder Week in those states, and Tennessee and Georgia as well. All of those. So I would be the contact person for that. So the more that our associations in those states can get involved, we would love to be a part of that. So that's all I wanted to say. I just want to throw that out there to them. And you know me, I want to help whatever I can do.
Angela, thank you as always. Yes, absolutely. I'm glad you said that. And please reach out to Angela. Anybody else? Let's see. I know, Virginia contacted me this week. They're moving forward as another great state, leading state with proclamations and other activities. Montana as well. Earlier, I saw Jerry Preet on the call, who's their statewide coordinator and trainer extraordinaire, member of the fire service in Montana. Who else? Maryland contacted me, Pat Rooney. They're doing a lot as they always do.
Jim, it looks like we have Russell Holt and Carl Merkel with their hands raised.
Oh, go for it. Carl, you go.
Carl, you just need to hit that unmute button.
Carl, you're on.
Maybe Russell Holt first. Well, Carl.
Okay, well,
Unmute.
let's go to Russell and back to Carl. Russell, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you, guys. I'll be real quick. I'm always impressed by what the other states are doing, the bigger states. With the smallest state in the union, we're very small. So this year I'm having a challenging time, like I always do, getting the comm people and the PIs to, let us do more. So we're going to try to do more than CMS messages this year. I appreciate everything I've seen, but other than that, there's nothing innovative to report here yet. I'm just learning from what I'm seeing from the others. It's a huge hill to climb in terms of get where some of you guys are. I'm impressed, like somebody said earlier, how much some of the states are doing on this. It's awesome to see. So we're working on it, Jim.
Well, thank you, Russell. And thanks for those comments. We're here to help. Don't be afraid to reach out to any of us, Paul, Joe, or myself, anytime, any day, or any of the champions and leaders that are on this call. So thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see. I was going to call on, hey, Wayne Thomas still on from North Carolina?
And Wayne, if you're able to talk, hit that, raise your hand and I'll give you permission to talk.
Yeah, if not Wayne, let's see. TJ with National Volunteer Fire Council. Any thoughts, TJ?
Again, TJ, if you're able to talk, raise that hand. Use the raise your hand feature and I'll unmute you. There we go.
Yes, well, greetings from the great state of Washington, the one that hails on the left side of the United States. I offered something in the chat, and that is for our organization, we have 49 states with directors, and having a list of point of contacts within each state that our membership can contact the state DOT's point of contact and try to get some traction at the local or the regional level of the fire service, I think would be extremely important. And coming up with some strategies that we can work, across the borders, if you will, from the interstate to the state highways to the local highways. And one of the best is being able to capitalize on the 750,000 volunteers out there that could play a part in educating their neighbors, placing information in the grocery stores, in the gas stations. This is old school, but we all know that sometimes old school is how we attract interest from the crowds that don't have their nose stuck in a phone. Any help, please?
Okay, TJ. Quick suggestion, if you're not aware, to TJ's question about contacts, on the Crash Responder Safety Week website, our website, there is a point of contacts list that was recently updated that resides on the web page, and it may not have all the contacts, that are on the committee, but it'll have at least the 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 key contacts with email and phone numbers. Just FYI. Thank you, TJ. Okay. Well, we have 5 minutes left. If no one else has any comments or suggestions, I think, is there another slide after this, Matt? Oh, important slide. Just read it right here. We've asked now a number of times, and we desperately need headshots from the different responder disciplines. If you are someone that can make that happen and send it to myself, Paul and Joe, it would be hugely appreciated. And we're going to use those on the CRSW flyer. Now there is a, you probably need, well, you need to send me an email because there is a release form to allow us to use the responders, the headshot. But we purposely inserted this slide here because we need your help. Need your help. Thank you, Angela. And next slide. Okay, this is another important one. We've asked for the contacts for your agency's communications public information officer. In the past, or you can email me, but you can see right there, well, my email address, but I don't know, can click here to access the online form. Not sure if that's a broken link or what.
Yeah, I'll be putting the chat box in
Just a moment, that link.
Yeah, and the question from Patricia, what was the question? I missed it. Patricia, you want to just speak up, raise your hand, and then.
Jim, I believe the question is, do we want both a headshot and a scene photo?
Well, scene photos are welcome, but for purposes of the flyer, it's a headshot. Our need is for the headshot now, and obviously in full uniform, including the hat, etc., from about chest level up. Does that sound right, Matt?
Yeah, that sounds great.
So thank you, Patricia. Patricia Westick from Seattle, Washington. Yeah, it'd be great if we could get everyone's help. And again, this PIO contact information is key for us. And we keep that information confidential, so don't worry about that, but we've been slowly building our list. Next slide. Okay, there you go. Our next and last, thanks, Adam. Thanks, Adam.
No problem.
Yes, sir. Webinar number 3. The focus is going to be resources to advance driver education, Wednesday, September 14th. Same time, Eastern, and our team, well, let me say first again, thank you so much to Matt Morgan and Vishali Shah with AEM Corporation, our contractor support, for the great work as usual. Adam Hops and his team at the National Operations Center of Excellence for the great work you guys do. Adam, thank you. And on behalf of the US DOT, Federal Highway Administration, National TIM Program Office, Paul Joden, Joe Tebow, and Jim Ostrich, we really thank you for everything you're doing, and please don't stop. Like I said, we've just begun. We've got a lot of work to do to educate the public, and this week, in about 4 months, we're going to knock it out of the park again. And I know all of you are going to do great things as you always do. And so with that, share the word, spread the word of Tim, share the word of CRSW. Please, that's super important. We had over 250 registered for today. We ended up, I think, with 150, which is a very respectable number. But keep sharing the invite, the announcement for not only CRSW, but the monthly Talking Tim webinar. So long, everybody. God bless you, and stay safe. Our presenters, I forgot our presenters, Michael, Juliet, and Sal Cohen. You're the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, guys.